Haku
nice.
falls as well. And on the back lines, Agizix, he finds his target. He goes on a series right out of turret range as well. Mitsura tries to use the Chaos in this. Not gonna work out at this point. Azar, this is a pincer, and they will get the kill. Azar continuing to build the farm on his side.
Yeah, at that point, it was like a 4v1 sit-in duck, and I've been in that situation many times myself in my solo rank games, but this is definitely what Elevate needed. They were losing a few blows and a few deaths here and there, but it is going to be Elevate coming back with a T2 takedown into the farm lane. So again, opening that map.
Right, they have doubled their lead. In fact, it's quadrupled the lead. 4,000 gold ahead. For the side of Elevate, it's a tough situation for Nongshim to recover from because they don't exactly have the best map control available now.
No, and I mean, the fact that the series kind of been forced into that high ground territory, and he's not going to be much used to the farm as he needs to, because obviously, as we know with Bang, when you're playing from behind, he's either got the macro playability where he's going to be trying to focus these turrets now, because he can't stay in his lane and farm up. He's going to be a sitting duck if he does that.
Yep, and it's a double prong attack, right? Because a under-level farm will not be able to push turrets as fast as well, even with the target sighted. It's still faster than a traditional marksman, but it's not going to be enough. At this point, he still needs the Eternity Blade, manages to get the Shadow Reaper, but he's very far away. Oh, and it is going to be a solo kill onto Siri as well. Can they get the return though? The Annihilation does not hit the mark, and once again, Elevate just playing better than Nongshim.
Yep, Siri getting taken out there. Like I said, he can't sit in that lane on his own anymore. He's kind of having to take more resources from the rest of his team to survive. Agizix taking a bit of blow here from Kyung9, but nothing going to be committed here just yet. They are able to take the T1 up into the Clash lane as well, so more macro going up to the side of Elevate, and you can kind of see Nongshim really try to trade that turret down into the farm lane.
Yep, and they can't even do it, right? They had to expand. I mean, even Kyung9 expanded his force field suppression, and they couldn't bring Agizix down to half his health. So this is a really tight and uncomfortable spot for Nongshim.
I mean, they've taken another T2 as well. It's definitely an uncomfortable spot for Nongshim. They're going into the 10-minute mark where these Shadow variant of the neutral objectives popping up T1 down.
All right, Dream Roam defensively at the cost of a T1 as well. So Nongshim right now they're stuck between a rock and a hard place. And once again, the steal comes in. The buff will go into the hands. Agizix gets caught out. The burst is big, but the Blood Rage and the ultimate drops down as well. Agizix, they turn this around. Elevate. Azar trying to go for the backlines. Haku not going to survive just yet, but Kyung9 comes back with a saving grace. Gets a kill on the Mitsura, but he's going to pay with his life as well. And still, Elevate fight back.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that was a really good sacrifice there by Kyung9, because I feel like if he didn't take out any of the side of Elevate there, that T2 down into the mid lane would have definitely been wiped out. And going into that 10-minute mark as they are right now, taking these Shadow neutral objectives, it's going to be hard for them to come back. But we do see a bit of a stack up here for Nongshim. Tried to get the Destiny counter there from Faye, but didn't quite make the hit.
Difference in farm is really showing in the lanes right now, and I think they might be able to try and force their way into this T1, but it's a risk that's not worth taking in my opinion.
Oh no, they definitely don't want to be losing any kind of fights right now. We're getting to a point where it's that tipping scale. It's where the pendulum's going to swing either into the favor of Nongshim or Agizix here.
Yep, Agizix still has access to the Blood Rage. 1v3, nobody can stand up to him. The backup comes on the side of Elevate as well. Hyde gets the first kill on the Faye. Dream Roam, but Haku will not be able to make it out. Hyde, you can't hide from this guy. It is going to be a trade though. Evilist is going to make his way into the ground 6 feet under. But a trade of 2 members on the side of Nongshim means Elevate in the lead.
They always say 2 is better than 1, and especially in terms of kills. But now we're looking at the overall gold lead going over to around about a 7k for the side of Elevate. The Shadow Overlord is still up, but they do have the Primal Bond for the side of Elevate for that debuff into the jungle. It looks like they're going to lose that T1 thanks to the minions, so a little bit of a saving grace there for Nongshim, but how much can they hold out for, I suppose, is a matter of time. We see those high ground turrets that they need to stay standing for them to get back in this game, I feel.
Yep, I think a T3 exposure is definitely going to be in the favor of Elevate, right? Nongshim as well, I think there is a silver lining in this case. The farm is pretty good on the side of Siri as well. Already has the Eternity Blade. And bear in mind, the Nuwa Illusion also has the try and find a...
Agizix being what, a level ahead, and as well as Ivalice just playing these cannon blasts to perfection.
Yep, I think they've definitely done the homework on the side of Elevate, right? They have muted Kyung9 pretty much this entire game, and when Kyung9 is unable to hit those markers, you can see Nongshim start to struggle a little bit.
Yeah, when the Phoenix cannot soar, it's kind of it's a sad thing to see, and that's definitely what Kyung9 is in this draft. But I feel like the Byron pick's probably not one of his most performed heroes, but he's still doing well with it, like we saw earlier, that saving grace. But like you said, Elevate's definitely done their homework.
Yep, Haku is able to tank quite a bit. It is going to be a miss on the side of Mitsura. Actually eats quite a bit of damage into his face at this point. But it looks like Agissix is looking for an opening. They want to try and force this T3. It's going to be big because that's the opposing lane to the Shadow Overlord as we hit that 14-minute mark in 30 seconds.
Yeah, like I said earlier, Nongshim do not want to get rid of these higher ground turrets. They want to be holding on to them like it's their last hope, because it basically is in this game one. As soon as they fall and those enhanced minions come through, it's going to be a lot harder. The actual statistics of coming back in a game becomes a lot smaller for your team.
Yeah, and talking about the damage, I think, yes, both Illusion and Siri have a bunch of damage available, but primarily it's very single target based, right? Even if we're talking about Annihilation, they have to waste 2 big skills onto any of the members on the side of Elevate. And right now, Agissix really far ahead and farm 10,000 gold in the pocket, building towards that Blood Rage as well. So he's going to have a lot of lifesteal.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look over to Azar as well, he's almost 6-slotted. We see the Sky Piercer coming through as well, because the Daybreaker will be the next thing on his cards. But he has the Siege Breaker, he has the Master Sword. Those Flaming Palms are going to be unrelenting.
Yep, and Destiny Encounter going to be dropped down as well. No chance of a steal coming in. Haku was looking for an opening, but the opening actually opens up for Elevate instead. They're chasing on into Haku. Agissix maybe just wants to push them away. They have Pry on the lane. So with the Tyrant buff, any fight is good for the side of Elevate.
Yeah, I feel like Elevate is going to take a fight once they got the minions here.
Oh, it's a big wasted ultimate coming in, and look at the damage they're landing in. Azar just poking with the Flaming Palms as well. Haku falling low.
Oh.
They are going in for the chase as well, but I don't think they have to overextend their welcome. So it is going to be a T3 in the mid, taken down. Elevate, looking like this could be the end of the game, but they will not take the risk. They just want the towers. Hang on, Destiny Encounter, and nobody gets a kill on the side of Nongshim as well.
Yes, beautiful flash there by the side of Elevate. Like, he committed to the think inside the box, was able to pick up the Kyung9, and then flashed out. So not even dropping Ivalice in that whole team fight.
Yep, just bumping and weaving, and here comes the sun as well. Hyde sets up the fight as Elevate looking for their first win in this best of 7 series, and they are going to get it. The Generals of Philippines will make it work. Game 1 goes to Elevate.
Yeah, absolute solid, aggressive performance there from Elevate in that game 1. I don't feel like there was a moment they even took the foot off the gas there at all. They were just unrelenting from the word go. Agissix on such a huge pick like the Ogryn. Azar having that early game lead down into the farm lane was definitely what they needed going into the series.
Yep, they really understood what the weaknesses of the draft are on the side of Nongshim, right? If you're able to get the control down, especially with the cannon blast coming in from Ivalice, I think he's been playing really well on this mode. Love to see that.
Yeah, we do love a good Motsu play, but it's one of those heroes again. If anything, if Elevate had a really bad early game, it's one of those picks that you can't really come back from. The cannon blasts don't become as effective. You don't get the resources you need to get any kind of magic damage come through for the side of Elevate, but they played that one to almost perfection, I'd say.
Yep, I really like the itemization from Agissix as well, going for the Blood Rage, Dragon Rage instead of the Blazing Cape. So he understood that, hey, look, Nongshim's lineup wouldn't be able to come close to me and stick close to me in the team fights. I would rather use my normal attacks and get the lifesteal instead. So very nice itemization to help tank for the team in the front lines. And Azar, I mean, he was just given the red carpet into the back lines on the side of Nongshim.
I mean, his itemization towards the end there definitely said so, right? He was almost into the Daybreaker. If he actually built it, we'll find out now. And there we go. No, still on the Sky Piercer there. It was still very, very close, but 5-0-5 on this. Lung has Azar's name written all over it. And I can't say the same for Siri on the side of Nongshim. As soon as we start to see those T1s fall, the T2 fall into the farm lane, it became a much harder game for Siri to come back.
I also want to highlight the unsung hero here in the game. I didn't really talk about him much, but Hyde was so phenomenal in this game. His catches with the get serious and whatever's really made the difference because it felt like Nongshim had a false sense of security. But when Hyde entered the fights, there was no fight to be had.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we normally see like the Mayin come through with the Diadea, especially when there's a high frame hero onto the side of your enemy team. But the fact they were able to pick the Mayin and play it to perfection, as you saw there with the team fight participation, they were always there. Hyde was definitely always in the mix, trying to get that pick off into the back line just to make it so much easier for Elevate. And it definitely paid dividends, as you can tell by the gold graph there as well. But MVP is going to go to none other than a Jizzix playing such a fantastic game, getting that first blood onto Faye as well. It was definitely the starter of this MVP pick.
Yeah, truly a sponge as well. Take a look at the damage he took. 39% of the damage. That's crazy, dude.
So much damage, but that's what you expect from an Orgrim, right? You can't be an Orgrim player and not expect to take that much damage. I mean, that's a bit of a false sense of security. Yeah, no, don't worry. We'll take the damage for you. It's fine.
Yep, and it kind of shows you how aggressive Nongshim is, and I think Elevate kind of understood that behavior, so they were happy to oblige, right? We will take the fight, and look at the way that Ajisix is able to sustain. Sure, he dies at this point, but the fact that he keeps Haku at bay in terms of farm and EXP as well has been really monumental in the way that Elevate was able to snowball and get the fights going on all fronts in this map.
Yeah, just some like really great rotations in the early game as well, right down to the farm lane, just making sure the prio was there for Azar, giving over what they traded up into the clash lane was at T1 as well. So we was honestly starting to feel like, okay, Nongshim will be able to get Kyung9, be able to just stay free like we saw here with the great kind of saving grace as we saw Elevate trying to take that mid lane. But it just didn't seem like Kyung9 had the greatest of games. Hyde had his number.
Yeah, I think it's really just the difference of farm, right? The itemization was just too far ahead for the side of Elevate because honestly, Kyung9, those are the kinds of plays that he's very comfortable giving to his side. And there was never an opportunity simply because of the way that they were positioned on the side of Elevate. Ajisix, the reason why he had 39%, look, he's always in the front lines alone. And it opens up, it's really like a lucky draw, right? Hey, pick what you want.
I mean, it's quite a telling thing, right, when you see Monkey having to use his Dream Roll as a defensive measure rather than a actual engage mechanic. So that definitely told you more than you needed to know from Nongshim Red Force in that first game, is that they were definitely playing on the back foot. There was a few glimmers of hope there, but once more, their macro just quite hitting the payoff.
Yep, so winning on all fronts, winning the draft, winning the lanes, winning in the execution. Elevate definitely have put themselves higher than their competition. For now, it's just game one, so let's not get ahead of ourselves. But I'm really curious to see now that a major meta pick is out of the books for the side of Elevate. With no Organ, what's the next best hero they want to showcase in their pool?
I mean, to be honest, in game one, we saw no Doom being banned, so I feel like that might be the next pickup for Jizzix. We have seen him more so on the tankier jungles rather than the assassins within the Season 3 Invitational, so I feel like that might be the next go-to. But we still have picks like the Q1 as well, which has been doing bits in the Season 3 Invitational. Not quite as effective as it was in KC 2024. But before we get into Game 2, we are just going to have a short break, guys, so don't go anywhere. Game 2 soon on the way.
Strangers to the fallout, it's what got us here. Ever changing, some chameleon. Blood, sweat, and tears. We'll never make it if we fall to everything that brings us down. With a comeback is now. Blood, sweat, and tears. Fight for what we want. Doesn't matter the
Righto, we are back with game 2 between Nongshim Red Force and Elevate. Obviously, first game not quite going in the favor of Nongshim. They need to definitely fix their draft in terms of the macro as well. I am Blam, and with me is Mr. Kindo Fu, and we're going to be your casters for today.
Yeah, so, things may not have worked out in their favor for the first game of this series, but it's the best of 7. There's many more games to go.
Oh, plenty to more have. There's more bullets in the chamber of the gun of Nongshim Red Force in this one. And I feel like maybe, like I said, draft was okay. Like, having Fang come out so early in the draft is kind of like the opposite kind of strategy of what Elevate's going for right now, as we've already seen Azar burn out the Lung. Those flaming palms won't be gracing the side of Elevate anymore. Maybe it'll be a prio ban for the side of Elevate now. But yeah, in terms of what they could have gone for in terms of a more conventional, stronger draft in the early game, just to get that first point on the board, would be, in my eyes, as a coach and as a manager of the team, what you'd want to be going for. But hey, Nongshim may be cooking something here.
Yeah, exactly. It could be the long game that we're looking at, right? We've already seen from the series yesterday between even Blacklist and Impunity. Having a long extended strategy does work in your favor, especially when you're burning out the majority of the hero pools on your opponent's side.
Yeah, I mean, we all thought going into that series yesterday between Impunity and Blacklist that Impunity had obviously the better hero pool, but I want to kind of revisit those and obviously just offer a suggestion in terms of school of thought for those watching, the viewers, is that once you start with a 2-0 and then you start to fall, it's that mental boom that really gets into the back of your mind. Just like, oh man, we were on top of the world and now we're kind of just having to scrape our way back up the Mount Olympus, which is very hard when you think about it. I mean, as a person, as a human, I would be in that mind state, but here is the updated global ban picks for both of these teams. Like we said, huge picks, Orgren and the Lung have been taken off to the side of Elevate.
Yeah, so for Nongshim, Diardia is unavailable as well. I think Diardia is one of the most powerful roams in this game. But bear in mind, there is still options like Secure, there's still options like Mortar coming out from the side of Nongshim. Plenty of variety for them to play around. And Nongshim will go and ban out the Diardia instead first.
Yeah, again, huge pick for them to ban out. They've tried it, so they've had it on their cards. They didn't quite get the performance and the outcome that they really wanted with this pick. Obviously, being the victim of First Blood, we knew from that point go, it's kind of like, this may be a wasted opportunity of the Diardia, but still sticking to the Masashi ban there. They do not want to give a Jizzix the Masashi just yet, but once more, Elevate going for the Mai and the Ali, the same two bans going forward.
Yeah, and once again, the Musashi ban. So this could be the Dolia first pick. So plenty of heals coming out from the Wave Breaker. At the same time, the O does provide a little bit of save if you are in water. This also opens up many things like the Gun and Mo, the Shangguan. We have seen a couple of nice games from these heroes as well. But Elevate, right away, snap picking that Dharma.
Yeah, snatching away the Dharma from Kyung-Nai. Maybe they thought that Kyung-Nai was actually going to prio the Dharma as first pick, but like you said, once there's a Dolia on the board and hasn't been banned in that first part of the game, you kind of have to choose it, but then it kind of already fleshes out what you may be going for, like the Dune, potentially the Lane, potentially the Lung here as well.
Yeah, I think that would definitely complement the lineup on the side of Nongshim, right? Yeah, exactly. You want to have the sustain, and you want to have that very strong front liner. So both teams going for similar strategies where there will be someone going into dive. And Nongshim, to me at this point, they have very good initiation. But Elevate, they have very good counter engage with the Dharma.
Yeah, the Dharma, the Hu Huan as well, we've seen fantastic, like, just completely disengaging that huge momentum that the opposing teams had going into a team fight. That unending sorrow just becoming untargetable as they just put all the target onto the Hu Huan has been devastating for some teams. And pairing that up with the D-Ranger is going to be really good counter here for the Dune, because if you land his ultimate, that reduces the physical and magical defense as well. So you're going to be taking a lot more damage. And as we know, Dune can soak a heck of a lot of damage.
Yep, and there's a lot of control coming out from the Elevate lineup as well, right? Nongshim, I think it's really more of they want to have the long extended fight, provide as much room for Siri to be able to land those flaming palms or riding the winds as well. Now Elevate, they're gonna start their mid lane with the Yi Xing. What do you think about this?
Again, if there's more control, especially the Hu on Intel as well, and now having a Yi Xing, the world is my board, is going to be huge in terms of just trying to trap either Lung or keep Dune taken away from the rest of his team as well. But here's a pick we haven't seen for quite a few days, is the Shi.
Okay, Shi, I like the hero as a whole on the kit, but Shi is a very risky pick if you're looking for initiation, right? It requires you to be slightly out of position because you will get caught out by the members of Elevate. At the same time, the range of initiation slightly further for the side of Yixing, right? Sura will be able to set up that world is my board pretty easily if Nongshim takes a step in the wrong direction here.
Elevate actually trading over the jungle role from Huan and onto Kaiser, so it's actually going to be Huan into the support role, so it's going to be Ivalit now. That's very interesting, but with the Shi, it's going to be hard for them to actually place those silk abilities around on Elevate because, I mean, you've got the illegal immunity from D-Ranger, you've got the unending sorrow from Yuan, so trying to capture out some of the heroes onto the side of Elevate is going to be very difficult for Alu, but definitely feels like he's up ask, and we see that Kyung9 is locking in the Mayin. He got battered with the Mayin in last game. He's like, hey, you've taken my Dharma, I'm going to now pick up my Mayin and try and pick out some of your backline.
Okay, so Nongshim, they have a very important job for both Haku and Kyung9 as well. Maybe even Shi, right? One of the main thing is they want to force out this legal immunity, the second skill, CC immune from the Direnjie. And if Nongshim are able to achieve that, the fight goes much better in their favor as well. But here's my question for the side of Nongshim Red Force, which is, okay, you're gonna commit so much to try and force out certain skills from the side of Elevate. Who is the one person responsible to keep their eyes onto Hyde? Hyde has been phenomenal, even with the Mayin in game number 1, and now you give him the Dharma. I think that's going to be quite a disaster if they don't find him out.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen some great Truth Mantra plays within this competition this far, some great crucial crowd control, and that feels like that might be the point of this as well, because there's no real, like you said, counter to stop that happening. It's Hyde's playstyle. He waits and kind of stalks the backline and then strikes at the right moment. I mean, yesterday we saw that great flash and Truth Mantra play from, I believe it was either Chami or Impunity, but my gosh, some of these plays we've been seeing from Dharma within this competition has been frightful.
Yeah, definitely. So in this game, for this particular game of the series, it really comes down to discretion, right? When do you want to use your skills? And is this the appropriate time to really burn out all your different resources? And once again, Faye being caught out, one more hit will do it, but the save comes from Haku as well. Doing so well, but Shi, he is going to get caught as well. Illusion, not the start they were looking.
Jungle, and Nongshim was like, you're going to get punished for that. So I feel like that's really good for Kyung9 to actually take those 2 kills, get an early lead into that clash lane in terms of EXP and ult.
Yeah, definitely do well against Hyde, and the wave play will be slightly faster on the side of Nongshim, which would then allow Kyung9 to have faster rotations. And if he makes the correct timing, he may be able to force out the
Pest and movement speed increase as well is definitely a good aid of the Yixing. But once more, Kyung9 getting picks off left, right, and center, but in the mid lane as well.
There we go. That's the initiation we're looking for. And they will force out the Invincible Warrior from Ajisik. So all good on the side of Nongshim. The only lane that is not winning at this point is just a farm lane, but with such a big lead. I mean, it's 2 minutes in. They're about 1,000 gold ahead already.
Oh, huge lead from the side of Nongshim. And like you said there, they baited the fight there in the mid lane. They didn't get any kills, but was able to exhaust that ultimate from Kaiser.
Yeah, it's a big one because now they won't get the re-engage, and Ajisix gets his life taken away. And Nongshim, this
used that Unruly Blade to get into the corner, the furthest corner of the board, so there will be no engage on to the side of Nongshim, but right now he's unstoppable for now. I mean, we need to stop like glazing Kyung9. I mean, he deserves it, but we need to stop glazing over the amazing plays he's doing right now. But I feel like as well with Illusion, he's definitely being the unsown, the undertone of this whole comp, right? He's able to use those silk skills to kind of just move them around wherever he needs to. Really kind of synergizes very well with the Main.
Yep, and I like the decision making, right? Because look, why try so hard to catch Azar? And this was the kill itself, right? Silky Beauty gonna be used. It was actually used as a bait with the flash as well. And Kyung9 actually manages to catch both of them with the whatever. That was the turning point in the fight as well. And this 1v1, smooth movement, even with the flash from high.
Very smooth, but oh, Mitsura.
It's not looking good. Some early kills coming in to shut down the growth of Kyung, tanking up 100% of the fight as well. And Illusion has to be in charge of trying to clear this wave to try and slow down the pacing on the side of Elevate, because Elevate, look, they are recovering. Logistics though, he might be in danger. Haku willing to go in for the chase, uses Unruly Blade. The Fresh comes in as well, Wind Slash. Here comes the legal immunity. So no CC available for the side of Nongshim. Out of resources, and Elevate, they make it out safe.
Look, it's gonna feel good for Logistics to be like walking away from a team fight saying he soaked 100% of that damage, but I feel like that was very well played there by Elevate as well to actually bait the Wind Slash, bait the actual knockup from it with the Unending Sorrow from Ivalice as well. So again, they were able to do little bits.
Choosing not to complete the Axe of Torment, going for the Master Sword first. Very good idea, because you know what? The slow from the Axe of Torment isn't going to matter that much now. You want the extra burst from that passive of your Master Sword. And I think so far, Nongshim has been hitting all the markers in this 7-minute game so far.
Yeah, they've definitely taken the pre-game one jitters and completely just negated them on the side of Nongshim for now. But if we look at the kind of board here, it's looking very 50-50. And considering how dominant Nongshim had of an early game, is not kind of the result you'd hope would play into this 7-minute mark, right?
Yeah, and you know what? Of all the fights, we have not had a full-on 5v5 yet. We have not seen the board being laid down. That might show us the true nature of the status between the two teams as well. Both teams making cross-map plays as well. On the top, they're going to try and onto to Kyung9, who actually makes it out unscathed at this point. Mid lane is going to be put under a little bit of by Nongshim as well.
Yeah, a good macro play from Nongshim nonetheless, even though in terms of, like I said earlier, the early game lead they had prior to getting to this point is definitely not sort of steamrolling into the way it should be. There seems to be a little bit of a lack of attention coming from Nongshim here, but the attention's not going to be in the team fights. They're definitely trying to improve their macro play, which so far Siri is doing. They've taken the T2 all the way up into the farm lane. They've taken T1 in Clash as well now, so they're definitely getting that extra little bit of gold in the turrets here, but it's still not seeming to negate too much of a difference between both of these.
They have, right? So far, based on what's been happening across the map, Elevate have not found any opportunity to try and force out the infinite fastness. And that is a big concern for me, because if you're unable to put pressure on a Seaweed, he will have all the time and less pressure to really perform well in the fight as well.
Yeah, I feel like once we start to get to see those 5v5 matchups, then we will see those infinite fastness being exhausted, but Kyung9 doesn't want to get caught out.
Yep, Illusion might be the first victim here of this skirmish. The exchange works out in Elevate's favor. They fight back, gain a little bit of map control. They need to get this T1 in the mid, and they might be going for more here. Siri forced back, but they will be content with just that first tier turret. Haku unable to make it in time to try and go for the re-engage.
Yeah, nice little bit of a comeback there for Elevate. I do have to give it over to Mitsura, though. Like, he seems to be the staple driving force to get Elevate back on the horse. Like, I feel like if it wasn't for Mitsura in this game too, they would have been deflated. We would have been seeing that steamroll, snowball effect that Nongshim have in the early game be taking much more devastating effect. But thanks to Mitsura, he's like, guys, no, stick into it.
Yep, taking liberty is going to be put down as well. The stun comes in and the board is laid down. Haku now in trouble, but is going to be saved by Illusion as well. Very nice Silky Beauty on the backlines. Kyung9 gets the kill onto Logistics as well, and this is a big win for the side of Nongshim. They are looking for more. That T1 in the mid needs to fall.
And see if they want to see through to game 3.
Yeah, this is a good performance by Nongshim so far, and they need to deal a killing blow, right? Or at least hurt and wound Elevate at this point. The wound will come in the form of a P3 exposure, primarily and hopefully onto the farm lane on the bot side, right? That's where they could really cause the most damage.
Yeah, opening that side lane for then everything to be kind of like level playing field on the side of Nongshim, so that everything's access for the side of Elevate, which means that you can see the likes of Azar trying to get a bit as much more resources as it needs to be, because we know as Durenji gets into those resources and gets those items, is going to be a little bit more effective for the side of Elevate, because right now we haven't seen the optimal Azar on this Durenji.
I think it's really difficult, right? His range is decent on a D-Runs here, but there's no initiation that seems to work out in Elevate's favor so far. Taking liberties, great. Well, it's my board, great as well. But it's all about Hyde, and Hyde has not been given any chance to open a fight.
No, he hasn't at all just yet, but maybe he's waiting for that pick-off, but we're seeing a little bit catch out here.
Yep, they catch on the Haku as well, but the save again comes from Illusion. Not going to be good enough, and this could be a big fight for the side of Elevate. Logistics takes down Faye as well. Finally, something of value for the side of Elevate as they reward themselves with this Shadow here. It's going to be huge. Kyung9 staying patient. Mitsura might have to check the push, and at the same time... Okay, Kyung9, the opening is not available, and he will be caught out. Elevate pounce on him, and this is going to be a huge punishment. Elevate, this could be the big turnaround. It took them 12 minutes, but it is here.
I mean, we were saying it was like, hey, when's Azar going to activate on this D-Ranger? And then all of a sudden, he uses the Imperial Order onto Haku. Haku goes down. And then we saw that Kyung9 couldn't really approach either Mitsura or Azar because one, illegal immunity. And then also, we know that Mitsura has the Splendor. So if he does try and go in, he has the passive. But he also has the Splendor in his kit as well. But Haku here and Faye getting pushed into the T2.
Yep, they secured a 0 golem for themselves on the side of Elevate here. Look for an opening, nothing just yet. Oh, Splendor spent. It is a big
line in here for the side of Elevate for a comeback in game 2. Like I said, Nongshim had a fantastic start thanks to Kyung9, but nothing really snowballed into their way. They still have a comeback, right? Like I always say, the high ground turrets are still standing for now.
Yeah, the second seed in Philippines region here. Elevate looking for an opening, and I think they very well may get it as at this point of time.
Potentially, I mean, they have the Vanguards, right? The Flaming Palms actually do take the Vanguard off the farm lane there, so Siri doing what Siri does best on the Lung, especially in that early game, being very aggressive, taking those turrets, was able to take that Vanguard down very quickly. But it does mean now the fact that the T2s are down into the side lane, that Crimson Golem is very wide open for Azar, and it was right for the taking, and he took it.
His single advantage that Nongshim has fought for in the past 13
the Clash lane, but is this going to really give them the lead they need over the Overlord here? Clash lane, but is this going to really give them the lead they need over the
committed, and it's going to be the illusion control coming in as well.
Early.
What is my board going to be placed down? Here comes the infinite vastness as well. Kyung9 working hard onto the back lines, but Ivory gets the heals as well. Not enough damage coming in from the side of Elevate. And they get torn apart.
Is this going to really give them the lead they need over the
That was the correct call, and Nongshim wrestle back some control coming in as well.
They do wrestle back some control. Maybe
Here
it
comes the
was the
infinite
best
vastness
situation they could
as
get
well. Kyung9 working hard onto the back.
Options of worse situations was, yes, we lose the higher ground turret, but we get the kill of Azar, which really helped them in that team fight, as you saw there. They really lacked damage on this. Talked about earlier that Haku on the Dune was able to
but Ivory gets the heals as well. Not enough damage
from
from the side of Elevate.
Is this really give them the lead they need?
That was the correct call, and Nongshim wrestle back some control coming in as well.
They do wrestle back some control. Maybe
Here comes the infinite useful against the lineup Elevate, right? But right right now, simply because of the tier 3 take on the top, it's what net them the win in this fight. And I think, take a look at what's happening on the backlines as well. A very safe positioning by Fade to make sure that they always have benefits quite a lot on this. And if you take a look at the fight, they actually ignore Mitsura for majority. They are looking for the important
Fastest
situation they
as
can
well.
get
Come
in
back
the
working hard onto the back.
worst situations was, yes, we lose the high ground turret, but we get the kill of Azar, I've got to say, which really though, helped them in that Nongshim's team fight, as you saw there. The mistake there was the fact that Siri committed onto Mitsura so early, knowing that the Splendor was there as well, because even though he dived in, he exhausted the Splendor, it still meant that Siri got taken down, which in a team fight like Shaw, that you're not expanding, like that is not the one you want as your scapegoat, right? You don't